So we took a look at that previous asset, and just to kind of remind you of what we were doing, we were taking this original cost asset and we were using a couple of different ways to depreciate it, both a straight line method and an accelerated method. And we turned this accelerated method, when we originally did it, we thought it would be 2.25 times the straight line method, or the straight line rate. And I changed it here to only 1.5 times, as you see up here. So what we found was, whoops, I messed up here. What we found was that we originally thought that we'd have a residual value of 1.2 million, and when we use this only 1.5 times the straight line rate, we came up with a ending balance here of almost 4 million. So what happens when I have a asset that I sell at the end, and in this case I'm going to sell it for the 1.2 million? Well, what do you do with that? Well, let's take a look. So we're trying to figure out what happens when I sell an asset. So whenever I sell an asset, I'm looking at two things. One, the cash or compensation received. Versus the book value of the asset sold. Okay? And I'm looking to see, is this greater than this? So if the cash compensation received is greater than, trying to figure out the best way to do this. If this is, I'll do it in black. If this amount is greater than, I know it's a weird, if this is greater than the book value of the asset, then this yields a gain. If the cash compensation received is less than the book value of the asset, this is going to equal a loss. So let's go back to our little example here, and let's say we did this 1.5 times the straight line rate for depreciation, as we see here, and I sold this for what I thought was going to be the residual value, 1.2 million. Maybe I was able to sell it for 1.9 million. I had a buyer. I remember this 1.2 million up here is an estimate, and I sold it for 1.9 million. So I'm just going to jot down a couple of facts, and we'll go back to my little notepad here. So the accelerated method, I had 3,798,542 as the book value. So I'm going to jot that down here. So we're going to write down our 3 million, so accelerated. We had 3,798,542. That's the book value. I'm going to abbreviate that BV. For the straight line, we know what the ending book value was because it's equal to the residual value. So for straight line, we know it was 1.2 million book value. Right? So we know that. The cash received was 1.9 million. So the cash received to sell this asset was $1.9 million. So I got rid of the asset. What I was going to do with it, I was going to sell it, and I got rid of the asset. If I had done this on the straight line method, the cash received is greater than the book value of the asset. So this is going to create a gain on the sale of the asset. So we're going to have a gain because this is greater than the book value. So I'm going to have a gain here of $700,000. Alternatively, here, my book value is greater than the cash received. So the comparison between these is I'm going to have a loss equal to the difference between this 3798 and the 1.9. So I think that roughly, if I'm going to do the math here real quick, I got 542, I got my 8, I've got my 9, and it's 37 minus 19, so I think I'm looking at, what am I looking at here? 1.8 million. Yep, 1.8 loss, right? And you know what? I don't like seeing either of these, right? I'd much rather do a better job of estimating what was the actual cost throughout the year. I'd much rather do a better job of estimating residual value. I was off here, this should have been a little bit higher. And maybe I didn't depreciate enough over here, and I should have had a bigger multiple than the 1.5. Because I don't like these big gains or losses, because those are surprises. We don't need those. All right? We have to record them, but we don't need them. So when I sell this asset, not only do I get rid of the cost, I also get rid of the accumulated depreciation and take in the cash. So I get this asset completely off my books after I sell it.